GM. GM. So, today is Thursday, 16th of May. First thing to say is I think it's important to separate high time frame from low time frame. So, higher time frame, we've had a significant shift in the market. So if we go here to the daily, we just look at this. And we're looking at the volume profile, which you've all seen. Right, you can see there it's around that 60. Well, sorry, that's where did I mark it from? When I hit the all-time high, 64k area. Oh yeah, because of the consolidation here from there to there. You've got 67. You've got 64. It's dropped a bit lower because of some of the consolidation here. But over the past few weeks, you've seen me tracking it. It's been 64 as the key level. And then obviously this 67, which is where our next resistance is the other one. So roughly, if I just narrow these up a bit, they're the two most important levels. 64 because it was also the breakdown level, as well as having a high volume area. 67 as it's the last real structure shift that's needed for us to flip bullish. If you remember, I was doing some inverse charting. Inverse. Now, how does this look now? This is not looking so bullish anymore. Right? Bullish in the inverse sense. So the more this moves in this direction, the more likely it becomes that this whole thing is actually bearish to go lower, right? So when you flip it and invert it, you can see that. For price to actually end up going lower, which would be higher, it would have to fall all the way back below this level and then fail that retest, and then it could go like that, right? So there's what needs to happen for bears. You need a full retracement, breaking this structure, a failure of that 64, and then it will go lower. It's unlikely. The move yesterday was strong, and regardless of what happens today or in the next few days, I think that will see continuation. You can see a pullback into 64 and then up. I could see that one. Or even move all the way back down, more chop, more sideways, volatility disappears, right, where it just drops off and has to go choppy. Wouldn't rule that out. Don't think it will happen, but you can see any of these paths. The main thing is I don't see a strong case for being bearish here on Bitcoin, purely based on price. Now, has there been a lot of people chasing into the move? Is there a lot of build-up of longs, all that kind of stuff? Sure. But if I go to the Bitcoin chart that I have been drawing on, which is where? This one? No. Thought I had it marked from the other day. Maybe I deleted it. Just check this one. Yeah, no. Okay. Well, I had it marked the other day, if you remember, about the CPI and the different paths. So let's look at it again. We had price between 61.8 and 62.8, which is all the way down here, and 61.8. Or 62.6, sorry, wasn't it? 61.8 and 62.6. They were the key levels when we were compressing and consolidating before the before CPI. And away it goes. Broke out, volatility increased and spiked. Now, if this move is not going to see immediate continuation, which would be some kind of upwards consolidation and then a further move, further pump, or really it can look more like this. It would basically not fill in anything below, move up, and then start to fill in moves and push towards the highs. If it's going to leave that as a gap, you really have to give it a few days. We got our first daily close above 64. It was also above 65, and it was also above 66, I think. Was it exactly the open? Yeah, 66.2. Multiple daily closes above that level with ETF flows returning is what you want to see. So 300 million, I said this yesterday, that was roughly what I expected, 2 to 300 million. We got the upper end of that range. That's fine, but we've seen this a bunch, right? One day doesn't matter. If there's consistent inflows again, we'll probably go for the highs. And it will confirm Bitcoin's range as being 60 to 70 with deviations on either side possible. So these levels that we're looking at here are no longer valid, 61.8 and 62.6. They're only valid before the volatility expansion, right? Meaning, I don't expect them to be strong if we come back, because we've had a big move. They mattered when we were in a tight range. I absolutely think 62.6, if price does come back to fill in, right? If it traps people and comes back to fill in that gap, 62.6 is the level it would need to hold to be able to consolidate in this range and then break out later on. It all depends. Look, there's been a high time frame shift. So I've bought my Bowden. I've bought more Bowden back. I mentioned it in trading analysis. Bitcoin is going up, bottoms in my opinion. But this is all high time frame stuff. It doesn't mean that today Bitcoin's going to moon. It might. Depends how many shorts are left to squeeze. The momentum move, it all depends on the shorts. When you have a big impulsive green day like we had, you do generally get a green day to follow, generally. Especially one breaking out of a consolidation like we just saw. I would expect Bitcoin to go higher today. I mean, honestly, as high as my confidence can be, extremely, extremely, extremely confident that Bitcoin at least does this, right? Because there's liquidity above. Very, very, very confident that Bitcoin at least touches that. Of course, if it does that right away and falls back, you're not going to see the nice follow through that you want. So, regardless of what happens, I'm looking at Bitcoin and I'm looking at higher over the next few weeks. Rest in May, maybe. Enough to get people fully allocated, FOMO back in, and then we go into more of a sideways correction. I don't think this means bull market's back. Could be wrong, but I think Bitcoin is going to consolidate more. You know, at the end of the day, this is still just a range. And if you're just playing it as a range, we're going to go to range high, right? We took out the lows, failed, came back inside, probably going to go to range high. Now, if it is just still trading as a range, there's some levels to watch. Especially since there's now two of them. The non-farm payroll, the NFP pump, price never came back to it. That's why I have that alert set there. The NFP level, so anyone who longed the NFP pump and put their stop there has had a free ride. CPI gave another free ride. This is the CPI level. That's the CPI impulse lows. Fucking hell, man. I'd be very surprised if both of those get left as free rides, basically. And so wouldn't be surprised to see price come back there at some point. CPI, May 15. And it doesn't have to. Maybe we trend all the way through the range. Maybe we go on and break out. I don't think so. And I don't, by the way, like it's not going to go like this, in my opinion. I don't think so. I think that's unlikely. I think the shift we've had is real. But these kind of moves can go up significantly, right? And then top out and come back and form a higher low and then go up again. right? And then take out the highs and come back and form another higher low and then build up and go for a proper breakout later in the year, right? You could see something like that. Bitcoin is not just going to slice through this range and go to 80, not in my opinion. I think an equivalent amount of consolidation on both sides is probably expected. But I do expect it to keep pushing, right? I do expect it to go higher over the next few days because that's the momentum side, and it gets those people who are sidelined or who sold or panicked or whatever, it gets them to make bad decisions and FOMO back in. So we'll see. Overall, nice move, decent shift in sentiment and in structure. Last thing I'll say though is about the sentiment. That's the one thing that does concern me, because literally every single fucking person, everyone that I see online is just like, we're back. And it was all 64k broke, big impulse candle, boom, away we go. And the similarities to, this move over here, you come off the lows, you consolidate, you break out, or even this one where you consolidate, you break out, at this big impulse candle. People are looking at these things like, there was the sweep, there was the sweep, there's the reclaim, there's the reclaim, there's the impulse, there's the impulse. So a lot of people are just expecting it to play out the exact same, and I would be cautious of that, right? I'd be cautious of that. Because here's something I want to look at as a much more likely path, in my opinion. Because I think what you need to remember, certainly what I want to remind you of, is your high time frame confirmation and your low time frame triggers. You've heard me talk about this in the past. What we got yesterday, was a high time frame confirmation. A strong, impulsive daily close with high volume, right, as you can see here. Maybe not on OKX, but on the aggregate chart you can see it, right? A strong, impulsive daily candle with above average volume, taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 12 days of consolidation, sweep, ripping straight through it. Nice move, confirms a higher high, I should say, which means you now have a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high, right? All of that. Early stage uptrend, early stage. This is by no means done yet. Very, very early stage. And EMA bands are going green. And we're back above the 50. And we're above the 64k. And we're above the important volume level. All those things I just mentioned are high time frame, right? High time frame, and they're all big shifting, let's say spot confirmations. Meaning if you bought spot now, you're buying at the right time of confirmation if you're planning to hold. What it doesn't mean is that price can't go choppy, sideways, down. It could do this for 6 weeks, right? Whatever. In the meantime. But what this candle means, what the move means, is that it's very, very unlikely that Bitcoin will go to new lows and have to continue going lower and lower, right? Not impossible, but it's very unlikely. But what people then take that to mean is, think about how the opinions have changed. Just a day ago, right? Literally a day ago, you had people worried about, sorry, I can't bar replay on that one. Just a day ago, you had people worried about this kind of shit. Right. Just there, people were worried that Bitcoin could just fall over, right? Downtrend, 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 can't make new highs, it's going to roll over. So there was a significant downside risk just a day ago, and now boom, it's gone completely, can't go down. It's not true. Of course it can go down. But what that move tells you is that it should not go down below there. But it can absolutely, as a spider crawls across my screen, GM to you, Mr. Spider, as it can absolutely go down into here, right? We can see a sweep of that at some point. So just think of all the liquidity that will build up here at that 60k level, right? So just look across these lows and how much demand there is in this area, how strong that support has been over time. And I don't think it comes right away. But price can absolutely go there. I'm going to put this guy out. Come here. I'm trying to catch the spider on my driver's license. Get on. Come on. Fucking he's jumped onto my leg. I want to put him outside. Send him out into the wild again. Oh well. He's run away. Spoder man. You know, at some point, is it impossible to imagine us sweeping this level? Definitely not. That could absolutely happen. Now, I think we probably go up first. Right? Up, up. But we could pull back, fall down into this area, take out that low, confirm a support, and away it goes. And this impulse candle did confirm the bottom was in, but we still came back, took some stops. Or we come back into the order block area, or whatever. I don't just expect that it turns around and goes up only again, but it will feel like, I do have a sense that it will feel like it, which probably is a couple quick candles soon to where people are like, fuck, it's now at 70, it was at 60 literally a few days ago. And that's the perfect, place to sell. Low time frame if you start to see spot not leading anymore. So currently we had negative funding, it's just flipping back. We had spot premium. This is a spot led move mostly. And so if you start to see us pushing higher but the spot bid disappearing, and you could come back and do that, keep going. Just don't forget the whole thing's a range, right? The whole thing is still just one big range until a clean break, right? Until it actually breaks out and holds above that level. This is all just a range. So compare these two charts here, because the comparison everyone's really looking at is this one, which is faulty, right? This is a flawed comparison because this was a shakeout. You've heard me talk about this in the past, that Bitcoin typically, when it has these shakeouts, they're about a month maximum. So if it's a bullish dip, bullish correction, it goes again within about a month. So from top to bottom to the breakout was 30 days, right? Give or take a day or two. That was consistent with how Bitcoin moves in these type of phases, just like January 2021, where from top to bottom to breakout, it was 31 days. This is not that. This is an actual distribution / accumulation. Could be either, we don't know. But it's over 2 months now. That's not a shakeout, right? It's not a quick dip. It's not a fast liquidation. This was very, very slow. So it's much more likely to be building a structure that leads to a new high. So if we've spent 2 months going down, we could easily spend another month, 6 weeks, building back up before any breakout. I also think there needs to be a big catalyst for Bitcoin to break out and hold above 75, of which I don't really see one in May. There could be something that we're unaware of, obviously. But I don't see much in May or June that would catalyze that. But the closer you get to the end of the summer and into the typically stronger period in Q3 and Q4 towards the end of the year, that's when Bitcoin looks a lot better, generally, but that can change. So with that in mind, I don't think the comparison to this, which everyone's doing, where they're basically saying, because it looks similar, right? We had the sweep, we had the sweep. We had the reclaim, we had the reclaim. Consolidation. What's this fucking thing doing, man? And then we're here, over here, right? So everyone's like, oh, cool, Bitcoin's going to go like this, ripping. If Bitcoin is going to do that from a trading perspective, the time to get long is there. Breakout, retest, hold, second break. That's where it goes to fucking 100k if the momentum's strong. From a trading perspective. Remember, we're already long anyway. I have all the Bitcoin I want. So I'm happy with Bitcoin going up, spot-wise. But for adding long swings, I will add long swings on the way up if Bitcoin continues to show strength. So if it keeps closing above 65, if we keep seeing, let's say we have today and tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. If we close above 65 today and tomorrow, if we have ETF positive flows on both days, that would then be 3 closes, not one. That would be 3 closes above this level. 65, 64, 65, right? It's a zone. You don't have to be, penny pinching over which one, but I would say 65 obviously shows more strength. If we did today and tomorrow, that would close the trading week. It would also be 3 closes above rather than just one. And that will give more confirmation. I would start to build swing longs then, which would be basically getting long Bitcoin in this area, or wherever it is, anywhere in this area, with an initial invalidation back down there, with a view to big breakouts, right? And with the intention of getting long there means that I expect Bitcoin to go up to here, right? Go to the highs before it goes to these lows. It doesn't mean it will go to 84, 90, 100, whatever, but it does mean that if it goes there and rejects back inside, I'm able to close in profit or close at break even on the trade, the swing trade. That's like a leverage long on top of my spot bags, a swing trade. Swing trading is about timing, right? If you're playing the cycle, you just buy spot and you hold. Been buying spots since 17, 20, 25, 30, even some at 48. You've seen me, posting every time I've bought Bitcoin throughout the last 2 years, a year and a half. But the trade itself will be more timing based. So that's what you want to do. It's the same as building a swing long through here, right? Because you have your confirmations. You keep building it, because that's what people are doing. That's why it went one direction. People were buying and buying and buying, accumulate on the way up. And then the only difference is, if the breakout fails, then you just close it, right? And you go back to spot only. That's the way I approach these higher time frame swings on Bitcoin. But the setup that I actually see as more similar to that is this one. This is far more like what we're actually doing over here, right? Both in time, which is super important. This one ended with a drop, right? This one ended with a sell-off, but it was 67 days until the breakout. This one ended with a buying climax, so at the highs, but both are the same thing. And we go here, we're about 65, 66 days in, whatever, roughly similar time frame, 2 months, right? And both, if they are accumulation structures, it doesn't matter if one stopped with a high and the other one stopped with a dump. All that matters is the consolidation. This consolidation, this consolidation. Your question is this accumulation or is it distribution? That's all it is. So I think it's far more likely that we are somewhere like this. Okay, let me show it with these arrows. Right, 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, so we're in an early stage uptrend. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Drag this back up. That's where I see us right now. You'll also notice that back over here, we took out the grayscale highs. Okay, so I'll get rid of this path. We took out the grayscale highs, price couldn't push beyond, and then it fell back into a higher low. And so if we take out the 67k highs, and Bitcoin is unable to push beyond that, then watch for something like this. Oh shit, what have I done? There we go. Copy, paste, show it up here, right? Wherever it does it, however it does it, doesn't have to look the exact same. But what you're looking for is something like that, where if that happens, you're looking at some kind of higher low or maybe a sweep to form. And again, if we did that, if we drop back to here, people start to get bearish again, and then it builds back up. That gives us more time in the consolidation. It forms a stronger bottom, and that's when you can see proper breakout coming later on in summer, if it's gonna, right? That again is just something I'm watching from a trading perspective of timing positions. So we'll see. I think it all hinges for Bitcoin on this reaction at the 67k level. I think we will hit it. See how we react after that. That's it. And that's all. GM. See you later on the live stream. We'll do altcoin requests. And I'll talk a little bit about altcoins here on Trade of the Day.